A magician's greatest skill
Oh, we
is
went
making
to
things
animation.
disappear or appear.
Cool.
The possibilities are endless. But this isn't what you came for. These little tricks, you've seen them all before. So it's time for something truly extraordinary, don't you think? This one's a little tricky.
Ah, Lynette's back.
Using this water tank, I shall make my sister vanish completely, right before your very eyes. It's actually quite simple. She'll just turn into air bubbles and float right out of the top. Oh no! I told them to check all the props carefully. With the lid on, even air can't escape. An amateur magician would be getting very nervous right around now. Luckily, it's me on stage, so let me show you what a true virtuoso can do.
Oh. Okay.
Lynette, are you still there? Don't go too far. We don't want to use up all our magic.
Hi, I'm back.
Uh-huh.
Whoa! What in the world just happened? How did he do that? Harlan didn't see him do anything. Wasn't Lynette inside the water tank? How did she disappear and then reappear out of nowhere?
No wonder he's a popular magician.
If we could see easily through his tricks, then that would mean that his skills are still lacking. To appreciate magic, you should focus on the show happening on stage, rather than getting caught up in trying to see that which has been intentionally hidden.
Guess you're right. Harlan couldn't believe her eyes when Lynette reappeared. Amazing!
Thank you everyone. I'm glad you enjoyed that performance. But our magical journey has only just begun. I've prepared even more astonishing surprises for everyone here. The magic of transformation and disappearance can go far beyond what you've just seen. I'm sure many of you are thinking that escaping the water tank was impressive enough. But Lynette is still my assistant after all. In which case, I have ample time to make all necessary preparations.
Okay.
So, for my next trick, I will require the participation of one lucky audience member. Please, if my assistants could bring out the magical boxes now. There are 2 boxes and only 2 boxes. One is here, and one is there in the aisle among the audience.
Okay. What's going to happen?
I'm sure many of our clever audience members have already guessed our next magic trick. A swap! Our lucky audience member and I will each enter a magic box. After 1 minute, we will each emerge from the opposite box. Now please, everyone pay very close attention to the box you see here. Don't give me any chance to make a move.
Wow! How's he gonna do this? Hey, do you think this is all magic tricks, or does Lyney have actual superpowers?
Paimon, you're not supposed to be talking during the fucking show. Shut the hell up.
The
Let's
lucky
watch and see.
audience member will be generated by this random number selector. It selects numbers entirely at random. Even I don't know who will be chosen to participate. Now then, let's begin.
If I had to take a guess, it would be either me, Nuevalette, or the Archon.
Oh, row 7, seat 3. Congratulations!
Oh no, it's gonna be an actual
You now have
NPC.
the chance to experience magic firsthand for an entire minute. Please, come forward. My assistant will take you beside the magic box. I'm sorry, it might be a little cramped inside, but no need to feel nervous. We've carefully arranged everything for you to be as comfortable as possible. You don't need to do anything, but no matter what strange things may happen, don't come out of the box. If the magic is interrupted, who knows where you might end up? You might even find yourself in the Fortress of Meripede.
I wonder where that is.
Oh, okay.
All right. Before I enter the magic box, there is one more thing I need to ask the audience to do. Could you all give me a countdown?
Okay.
Like this. 60, 59, 58. Just keep counting down. You can go a little faster or slower if you like. I won't be able to see anything in the pitch black box, so I'll be relying on your voices to know when time is up. Oh, and no tricks now. If you quickly count from 60 in just 30 seconds, then I'll be in a tough spot.
Ooh, Paimon kinda wants to count faster after hearing him say that.
I'm sure Lyney's prepared for your shenanigans.
No, that won't do. I can see it in your eyes. You still can't be trusted. Let's practice together. Come on, repeat after me. 60, 59, 58.
60, 59, 58!
That's
Okay.
right, perfect. Keep it going. All right, I'll see you all on the other side once you've finished counting.
Okay.
54, 53, 52? Huh? Why aren't you counting, Nuevalette?
I am counting in my head. I think things are exciting enough in here as it is. Merely a consequence of my identity and personality. Do not worry about me. Just enjoy the show.
Oh, alright. You looked so serious that Paimon thought you might be feeling uncomfortable or something. 40, 39, 38!
Mr. Lyney, are you all right in there? Is everything ready?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm just double-checking the direction of the magic. It would be a disaster if we get sent to the wrong places. For example, mid-air right above the audience.
Huh.
Even though he's saying that, Lyney doesn't seem nervous at all.
I think it's all part of the show, Paimon. Shut the fuck up.
What was that noise? Did you hear it too?
Maybe it was just to divert our attention.
Not sure. Anyway, it doesn't seem like anyone's worried about it. 25! 24! 23!
What's wrong, Mr. Lyney? I can still hear you moving in there.
I seem to have accidentally knocked over a decoration. I'm trying to fix it, but it's pitch black in here. I can't tell left from right.
Never mind the decorations. There's no time for that. The show is what's important.
No, that's unacceptable. I want my show to be perfect. Don't worry, we still have 20 seconds. Hear them counting?
19! 18! 17!
Lyney is, just
It
going
seems
about this
things
like
aren't
it's
quite
nothing.
going as planned. I apologize, everyone. It feels like you're all starting to count faster, but that's all right. I know it can be tiring to do such a long countdown. 10 seconds and change is still plenty of time.
No, we're going back to animation.
Almost there now. Whew. Swapping two people is harder work than you might think. Even a master magician like me can't guarantee I'll get it right the first time. Hey, wait! Is this the back one? I can't tell. They both look the same inside. Huh? Nope, that's not it. I'll try again.
7!
Hey, slow down! Honestly!
5! 4! 3!
Whoops! That doesn't count!
0!
Ta-da!
Huh. Okay. Oh, God.
What happened?
Huh.
Is this part of the show? Mr. Lyney, you're going to use magic to fix the stage now, right?
What happened?
Oh no. Maybe this isn't part of the show. The girl was still in that box, right?
This performance is over. Medical staff with me. Guards, secure the scene and detain all the performers. Seal the exits. No one is allowed in or out at this time.
Yes, that's right. If this was just an accident, then we must investigate the cause. But if this was all part of some scheme, then those accountable will not escape the judgment of the God of Justice.
No need to be alarmed, you two. We'll get to the bottom of this soon enough.
I wasn't expecting that.
Unfortunately, the
I was
person
not
who's
expecting
in the
that at
magic
all.
box has been pronounced dead. His name was Cowell, one of the assistants in Lyney's magic troupe. Apparently, the fireworks on stage ignited the ropes that were suspending the water tank, which then caused the tank to fall onto the stage. As of now, we are still not sure why we found Cowell in the box, rather than the guest from the audience.
Well, it was
And
a guest
after
in
an
the
initial
audience.
search of the area, the guards have confirmed that the girl is nowhere to be found.
Oh.
It appears that this incident was not merely some mishap with the performance. And there are many indications that it is connected with the case of the serial disappearances of young women.
Oh.
The serial disappearances case?
That's the case that Charlotte mentioned before.
In front of an audience, including the Archon and the Chief Justice? That's impressive.
I know the truth. I can see through the whole thing. Really, using such a shallow and obvious mystery as his finale, did he really underestimate us that badly? I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Lyney, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearances case.
Huh? Why me? This whole thing was an accident.
No, this all occurred during your magic show, did it not? The missing girl disappeared after being chosen, did she not? The deceased is one of your assistants, is he not? Now that I think about it, that whole speech about magicians making things disappear was nothing more than a provocation, a bald-faced challenge.
That can't be right. How can Lyney do this? He was in the box on the stage the entire time. We can even hear his voice. Besides, before the show, he told us that he would like to catch the criminal behind the disappearances. He couldn't possibly mean catching himself.
It's hard to believe this all happened during the show.
Save discussion for a later time, please. Lady Farina, may I assume that your comments just now constitute an accusation against Mr. Lyney and his associates, and that you are pressing charges?
I just think that I think it might be a little early to talk about formally pressing charges.
But what Lady Farina said just now makes perfect sense. Looks like she's gonna personally deliver justice.
A kidnapping and murder carried out under the cover of a magic show. Lady Farina said it all.
I mean, of course, my dear people. But
Oh
what
my gosh, she's
excites
terrible.
me even more
And not
than
in the good way.
obvious truth before our eyes is the opponent I'll be facing. That's right. I mean you, Traveler. You'll support Lyney, won't you? After all, he was the one who helped you the first time we met.
Gosh, she's just got a fucking lady boner for us. She is just all about trying to accuse us and get us into her fucking courtroom to give a shit. Whatever, I trust Lyney.
Then there's no problem at all. You know, the Traveler and I already had a duel the first time we met. But with Lyney's help, our little duel ended in a draw. But draws really are the most boring possible outcome. So, no more draws. Between the two of us, there must be a clear winner and loser. And what better place to hold such a riveting showdown and decide the true victor than here, on the grandest of stages, the Opera Epiclese.
It wasn't a draw. She obviously lost last time.
I understand. Charges have now been pressed, and as such, a trial is in order. Well, Traveler, seems Lady Farina has set you in her sights. But putting her dramatic rhetoric aside for a moment, I would like to ask you, are you willing to act as Mr. Lyney's attorney and defend him in this case?
Alright, so this actually has turned... It took a slight direction than what I was expecting or predicting. Based on the trailers, I was predicting that we were going to be framed. Us, the Traveler, was going to be framed. And that's something you kind of expect in these kind of like court, detective, justice-seeking stories, is that you end up being the one that's framed, and now you have to prove yourself and find the person that actually committed the crime and try to find the evidence to show that you were the one that was in the right the whole time and this was the actual person that was a douchebag. But this actually took a slight turn. It looks like Lyney is the one being framed, and we're going to be the ones trying to basically do the detective work and prove that he's innocent. So it took a slight twist. We're still hitting that mark that I was expecting, but we took that and made a slight twist to where it's not exactly the "oh, you got framed, now you got to prove your innocence" story. It's he got framed and now you got to prove his innocence story. But this actually also fixes a problem that I've been bitching about when it comes to Genshin Impact for a very long time, which is I have been getting sick and tired of dealing with NPCs. But we're actually in this story focusing on an actual fucking character and not an NPC. So we're not doing the usual story of getting framed and proving your innocence, and we're also not focusing on an NPC. So this is so far really good.
Very well. The trial will be held a day from now in the Opera House. Both sides may investigate the scene to build their cases and search for the truth.
What? What kind of justice system is this? The trial will be held a day from now in the Opera House. Both sides may investigate the scene, build their cases, and search for the truth. We have a fucking day. They're only giving us one day to find evidence that proves otherwise of the situation. And in this case, since we're trying to prove a guy's innocence, we gotta find the actual criminal and build a case to defend Lyney.
Lyney and his troop are all potential suspects and shall remain within the Opera House. The audience may begin to leave in an orderly fashion once they have been cleared by the guards.
A day isn't that long. Let's see what kind of case this big shot outlander can build in such a short amount of time.
Well, at least they're honest about it.
I'm really quite looking forward to hearing it.
Everyone is dismissed and the audience begins to leave along with Fiorina and Nuevelet.
Lyney!
Sorry about everything that happened just now. Were you frightened?
Of course! Who wouldn't be scared after witnessing an accident like that?
Yeah, I'm a little shaken up myself. How could this happen? And poor Cal. I know you already claimed that you would defend me, but now it's just us talking. Tell me, do you think I could possibly be the murderer?
No, I don't think so.
Good to hear. Thank you so much for trusting me. I'm sure everyone sees me as the biggest suspect at this point. But, if you ask me, the whole thing is mysteries layered upon mysteries, such that all that's left is confusion. I don't know whether what happened there on the stage was purely an accident or not, and I don't know why poor Cal was in the box. As for how that girl chosen from the audience could suddenly disappear, I'm afraid I don't have any answers either. If someone tampered with my performance, then we need to figure out what they did. Even a skilled and knowledgeable magician like myself couldn't pull all that off in just 1 minute.
But there is no denying what happened.
Which is precisely why we need to investigate. As this book says, the impossible could not have happened. Whatever happened must have been that which is possible.
Where did you get those fucking glasses?
Paimon bought them when we were reading at the bookshop in the city earlier. Pretty cool, huh? Don't worry, Paimon used her own savings to buy them. It wasn't from our travel funds.
I think they look cute on you, Paimon.
You have good taste, Lynette.
That's the right attitude. Feeling depressed isn't going to help me now. I need to get back to my normal self. But with the guards watching our every move, it's going to be especially difficult for Lynette and I to prove our own innocence. Good thing you agreed to be our attorneys. Thanks for that. We'll be counting on you.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm used to this sort of thing.
Yeah, just leave it to us. Oh, since we're going to start investigating, Paimon has a question first. Where did Lynette go during the performance?
Oh, well, I'm afraid that would involve some of our essential trade secrets as
Yeah,
magicians.
but you're defending
The
your
secrets behind our
innocence.
magic are past saving, Lyney.
That's true.
I suppose you're right. The truth behind our tricks is going to be important evidence that will be weighted during the trial. 'Tis truly a pity. As a magician, our magic show is a work of art. We've poured countless hours and spared no effort in perfecting it. But if revealing our secrets will help you uncover the truth behind what happened, then it will be well worth it. We should go somewhere else if we're going to discuss our magic tricks.
Okay.
We'll go speak with the guards, and in the meantime, you can go investigate the stage and the seating areas.
Alright, let's go have a look while the investigation teams are still here. Detective Paimon is on the case!
Okay.
Hello, officer. How's the investigation going?
We're Lyney and Lynette's attorneys.
I see. You must be the traveler that Lady Farina mentioned. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'd avoid getting mixed up in this whirlpool of a mess if I were you.
Huh?
Why do you say that?
What do you mean?
Come with me and you'll see. The deceased is one of Lyney's assistants named Cal. Even though he hadn't joined the troupe long, he was hardworking and everyone generally liked him. The assistants are usually in charge of setting up and inspecting the props, as well as assisting with the show and keeping the crowd engaged. As you probably saw when you were in the audience, the water tank suddenly fell and smashed the box with Cal inside it.
But why was Cal inside?
This is the real mystery. We've already searched the scene and were unable to find any traces of the girl. However, if you look carefully, the box was positioned directly under the water tank. The ropes holding the tank were then burned by the pyrotechnics on stage, causing them to snap. All these factors lining up so perfectly makes it hard to see this as a mere accident. If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned, and Lyney is the most likely person to have access to all these areas.
But he doesn't have a motive.
Are you both good friends of his?
Well, you can't say we're good friends, but we've known each other for a little while.
So in just a short time, he was not only able to win your trust, but even convince you to act as his attorneys. I know there's no such thing as magic. The real trick of a magician is holding the audience in the palm of their hand. I've seen a lot of cases, and I can tell you that people are the least reliable kind of evidence.
But that's not always true.
Sorry, I tend to be pretty straightforward. Just know that I'm warning you for your own good. Anyway, you may investigate the scene of the crime yourselves if you're curious. Who knows, maybe you'll be able to come up with some new evidence.
Okay. Alright. So the deceased identity. The deceased is one of Lyney's assistants named Cal. He was well trusted by all his colleagues. His job was setting up and inspecting the props, as well as assisting with the show and keeping the crowd engaged. Alright. Oh, we got child's vision, okay.
Whoever the murderer was, they must have made preparations well beforehand. Why would it be him? How strange. Why would it be him? How strange.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and spitball my theory. My early theory. My probably too early to guess theory. I'm thinking, so in these kind of cases where things are exaggerated and anything could possibly happen, everyone's assuming that because Lyney was the one who was the host, he was the magician, he's the one that controls how the show goes, that he had to be the suspect, which we're all assuming with great accuracy, because it's Lyney, that Lyney couldn't be the one to do it. He was shocked. We saw the shock on his face when the murder happened. Well, I'm guessing is that now, like I said, this is an early spitball theory. What if Cal was... Remember, there was a mask. What if Cal wasn't Cal? And that it was a different guy. And he had the real Cal inside the box at the last minute. And then he disappeared with the girl and made his escape, because the whole thing is that there's a dude kidnapping girls, and who knows what's going on with him and these girls. But what if that's the deal? Like, yeah, we saw the dead body. I'm assuming it's Cal's dead body, but I'm assuming that there was a different guy that was wearing the mask who was pretending to be Cal. And I'm assuming the magic trick's done with like a fucking tunnel underneath the boxes that lead to one another. Alright, let's look at the clues. This is where the magic box was struck. If Cal weren't inside the box at that moment, he might have dodged the falling tank.
So this is the rope that broke and caused the water tank to fall. The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks?
Give me just a second. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Alright. The rope looks pretty durable. How could it burned through so quickly by fireworks? And so either Lyney didn't realize this was a safety concern.
Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler?
I'm just looking at where the rope was snapped.
Whoa. Look! This bit is made from different materials! Well, most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left.
It seems to be flammable.
So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material in it, then that means... Wait, why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes.
This rope was used to suspend the water tank. It suddenly broke when the fireworks were being launched on stage. The investigation has shown that the location where the rope snapped was made of flammable material. So therefore, it had to be intentionally put there to intentionally catch on fire. Okay. Alright, dude.
Hello there. What are you investigating?
Oh, this location has also been cordoned off because the Magic Troupe members are currently considered prime suspects. The investigation team is still collecting evidence. The seats were all booked in advance, so we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking the guest list.
Can you tell us who she is?
Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway when we petition the public to help us find the missing person. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name for herself. Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come see the magic show. The Magic Troupe members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts of interest with the suspects. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troupe at all, which matches the features of the previous serial disappearances.
Okay.
Were the victims of previous cases also chosen at random?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, there really weren't any other connections between them.
Okay then.
Thanks for letting us know all this.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, please be sure to contact us. It is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
Alright. Information about missing lady's identity. Halsey is the missing person. She's a famous painter and came to watch the magic show in order to take a break from her own creative work. She isn't known to...
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue with the random number selector after all.
Oh, okay.
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer would have still made his move then?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lyney and Lynette with their side of the investigation. What were you saying about the number selector? There's something wrong with it?
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
We'll see.
Lyney used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right?
Yeah.
The lucky girl that later disappeared. Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for further inspection.
Okay.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picks that same number every time. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of whether it's a trial or some performance. In other words, Lyney knew who would be sitting where from the very beginning.
That much checks out. Lyney reserved our seats for us, too.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lyney.
Thanks. Sorry for to bother you.
Even though it's bad for Lyney's case, Paimon had better write it down.
Okay. Alright. Random number selector. This device was used during Lyney's magic performance to choose a lucky number of the audience. However, the guards have found that it will generate the exact same number no matter what. Clearly, someone has tampered with it. Interesting. The hell? Okay.
I see that you're investigating the area. Well, it just so happens that I'm interested too.
Oh, really?
If you find any new and interesting leads, be sure to share them with me, alright?
Why the fuck would I do that?
We don't have too many thoughts yet.
No, I want to know why we would do that. Shut the fuck up, Paimon.
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis first? The way I see it. And I'll start it with that loud thud.
The thud? Oh, you mean the sound that happened during the countdown?
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud, but I suspect that most people heard it. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lyney's trick with bated breath, so no one paid it much mind.
Okay.
But now that the incident has happened, the thud has become an important clue.
That makes sense. So, what do you make of it?
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Lyney's accomplice.
Oh.
Lynette, perhaps. Jumping atop the water tank, or something like that. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing down.
Like,
his theory's wrong.
Wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly rough landing.
Then wouldn't the water tank have started to swing a bit in that case?
Oh, that's true. I suppose I must reconsider.
That does remind Paimon, though. What was with that sound?
Strange sound during the magic show. During the switching performance, there was an audible thump that many audience members heard. The other issue with his theory is that if Lynette was jumping on top of the thing to cut the rope, which we already know that's not the case, then Lynette would have had, somebody would have saw Lynette, because look at this fucking space here. Someone would have saw Lynette had to jump off the tank to, get away from it falling.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you. Over here. I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now.
That's not suspicious.
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? And by the looks of it, you're not from Fontaine.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula?
Nope, never heard of it.
Mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums. You name it. Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president.
So you're a
Those
lawyer?
who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names?
Well, I am the second generation president. Malus and the others are still used to my previous title.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No, no need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand.
So you want to investigate this as
That's
well?
right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Lyney an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that conclusion?
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition.
So you got a gut feeling. But I don't deal in gut feelings. I deal in facts. So I want facts. I need to know what you are assuming is the reasons why he didn't do it. I don't want bullshit of, I just think he didn't do it. I need more than that. Because I can't go to the fucking courtroom with Lyney by my side and have you there and go, and let's say Nouvellette looks at me and goes, hey, so what did you find is the reason that Lyney didn't kill this dude and kidnap the girl? Because this chick right here, Navia, has a intuition, has a gut feeling that he didn't do it. And with that, I think we're in the clear. That's not gonna work! Okay.
Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Lyney without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she?
True.
But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the Hydro Archon.
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her.
Well, when you put it like that.
All right, I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine.
Wait a minute, did that answer count?
No, it didn't count. It's still just her gut feeling.
Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any pointless questions from me.
It doesn't count because it still falls under the pretense of, oh, she just has a gut feeling. But her gut feeling just stems from her just not getting a good vibe check from Fiorina's opinion. Okay, so again, we go to the courtroom. Nouvellette says, hey, why do you think this dude's innocent? Well, Fiorina here has a feeling that Lyney didn't do it because she doesn't think that Fiorina knows what the fuck she's talking about. That's not evidence. That's just questioning a person's character. It doesn't work.
In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
No, it's just trivializing and exaggerating everything that's going on.
Well?
Not always.
And why would that be?
Something... We'll use the first one, because the second one could sometimes be true. The second one says, something like a trial should be treated like entertainment. That is 100% true, but it sometimes can be, depending on the characters involved. But doing so does make it easy for the truth to fall by the wayside, because everyone's just being caught up in the opera of it. Therefore, no one's actually giving a fuck about the truth. They're just looking for entertainment.
See, Silver and Malus? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, demoiselle. I too think that the traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Malus. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors.
Yeah, but you haven't passed with me with flying colors.
I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be my assistants.
I think it should be the other way around.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
I think she should become our assistant.
Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Or your companion, if you like. I'm really not that fussy.
That's more like it.
Seems you've already agreed, then.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth.
It doesn't help us!
You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
You have a point. Huh. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister? And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
Well, Silver?
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Lyney's tricks. Thanks!
Alright. Tristan.
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Lyney and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on.
What about during the show?
I doubt there was much opportunity then, either.
How can you be so sure,
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time. I couldn't see Lyney's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even approached the door, I would have noticed it, let alone if they had tried to leave. We Melazines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here.
True.
Alright, thank you.
Because mezzanines have really good vision.
Info.
So, nothing would have probably got past his sight. Alright, entrance and exits to the Opera House. No one left the Opera House during the magic show. And after the incident happened, only those who had their identities cleared by the guards could leave.
We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Lyney's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage. Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But
Okay.
before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Okay.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all that go?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
And the back of the door isn't the same.
The back? You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice anything.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get?
There's another box inside this one.
Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head down.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box.
Called it! And this passage linked the two boxes together.
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the 2 entrances of the tunnel. See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box would remain on stage as if nothing had ever changed.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Then what about your side of the trick?
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Lyney's lines with the assistant. And, by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So
Fair
that's
enough.
how it all worked! Wow! Every detail you revealed was more amazing.
That's why
than
Lynette
the
was
last.
missing, because she was disguised as Lenny. I can tell a lot of thought was put into this.
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Lyney and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
This isn't the time to be making jokes!
We're counting on you.
Alright. The magic trick. Lyney gave a detailed account on how the trick was supposed to work. By using a box inside a box, the idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath. And Lyney himself would also use the tunnel to get to the other side. Meanwhile, having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant would take charge on the stage with the on-stage interactions. A very good trick, especially the fact where you would have blown the audience away with Lynette disguised as Lyney coming out of the box, going, "Oh no, it was too early," jumping back in, making the audience think that Lyney was still in that first box, but then all of a sudden, in a matter of seconds, popping out on the box in the audience. Pretty neat trick. The on-stage magic box structure. The magic box has an additional layer to its rear, in which Lynette and Lyney's clothes remained hidden. She would appear at the end of the magic trick and lead people to believe that Lyney has been able to instantly move to the box to the other side, which is what I just explained. Audience side magic box structure. The magic box on the center of the audience stands has 2 layers. And beneath it is an entrance to an underground tunnel. This was how the lucky audience member was meant to have been transported without the audience noticing anything. Okay. The magic box above. Alright, we got this interesting bit of here. But obviously it's strange that there's a broken vase down here.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which, why would there be water here?
Maybe it's for a trick?
Oh, hi, my nose. It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jug and then flip the jug over only for the water to disappear? And here's a broken vase. Huh. Did the trolley knock it down while moving?
That can't be. The trolley moves along tracks from start to finish. It couldn't have hit the vase at this distance.
True.
Let's note this down too and think about it later.
Broken flower vase. There are many pieces of a broken flower vase on one side of the tunnel. All the water within the vase has been spilled. Judging from the distance, it seems unlikely that it was knocked over by the trolley, meant to transport the magic box. And we got some clothing here.
Oh, these are the clothes that the lady chosen from the audience was wearing, right? Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Lyney didn't mention that the guest was supposed to have a wardrobe change.
Right. And do you really need to do that if you're kidnapping them? Ugh, this is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore.
Huh. The young lady's clothes, the clothing belonging to Halsey, the lady who was missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. All kinds of props, costumes, and stuff. Ah, a vent.
What is this place?
Looks like a vent.
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have been the suspect's escape route?
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space would be too narrow.
But there are no other ways in or out of here.
What if... Alright, this is a crazy idea. Let me hear them out. I'm gonna hear them out.
Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that down.
Tunnel vent. The tunnel vent looks like it could allow one person passage, barely, but leaving along with the missing lady seems like an unrealistic prospect. Oh, okay, this thing.
What's
I didn't
this?
see that.
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
They didn't mention this either.
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But why would it have been left here?
Whatever it is, let's make a note of it first.
Dropped hook rope. A rope that has fallen to the ground. A metal hook has been tied to one end of the rope. Its uses is unclear.
Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Okay.
Yes. Let's head back up.
Alright, I got a spitball theory. Now that things have changed. But I don't understand it whatsoever. Alright, my spitball theory now that we've investigated this so far is I don't think Cal would have been the bad guy at all. What if... Granted, I'm missing motive here. Let me get this. Alright, everything's been investigated. What if Halsey, the lady, was in on it? And the problem is it doesn't make sense. Because it says that there can only be one person that would be able to drag someone through this tunnel. So, if the lady, what I'm thinking here is the lady changed her clothes, but the thing is she would have to be in on it, and Lyney would have to have known who she, like if she was in on the crime, Lyney would have to know who she is. So even I can defeat my own idea pretty easy. So I'm still kind of lost here.
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. Seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
I am in complete agreement.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then! You know, like the kind you usually see in novels!
It would seem so.
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Lyney and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Sure.
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear statements from both sides.
The Oratrice will too?
That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, And even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Fascinating.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? Paimon thought Novelet called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Ha!
Whoa, whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
Now's not the time to be picky.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all.
Shut the fuck up, Paimon.
Just kidding! Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, Demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Follow back up here. Alright. Alright then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber.
However, we can assume that Lyney and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
So, when it comes to the people that we are aware of, we're only left with the missing girl and the deceased.
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Fair enough.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
There's no evidence that this third person even exists.
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person. But the only people left to consider are both technically victims, whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
But the problem here, and this is the problem with me speculating that Halsey's the criminal, is that, and the travelers onto this, is she had no way of knowing how the magic trick would work.
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off.
Very true.
Nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the Magic Troop's members.
Fair enough.
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp and super sweet.
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough.
It's fine. Everyone knows that you're a fucking glutton.
Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? How could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Malus, set up the stove again if you would.
Huh? What are you doing?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Alright, there's no need for that.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
You forgot the at the ready.
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
True.
All right, thanks for your help and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Alright. The probability of a third person being involved. Neither Cal nor Halsey had motive. But after having talked to Navia, the likelihood of a third person being involved seems very low.
Alright, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense ready for the trial. Oh, it's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare. Here, take Paimon's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
Not good.
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Just you wait. We'll figure something out. We'll pull something out
Since
of our
both
ass.
parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Lyney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Then he clearly reveals the details of his magic trick. Everyone
Thank you,
now
Mr.
understand.
In that case, I take your statement to be that You ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lyney is clearly lying. There is no way. You could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
How could Lyney not know about the sound?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
This probably represents the Ortrice's stance on the trial.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid.
Let me smash, or at least crack, your presumption to at least some extent. Just by saying that there had to be a thud doesn't mean that Lyney was not in the box. As we saw by the end of the show, Lyney came out of the box. Therefore, we at least know he was inside the fucking box. Now, yes, there was a thud, but that still doesn't prove that Lyney was the one to create the thud. Now, yes, you can say Lyney can be considered guilty just by circumstance. I mean, he was down there, but there was also Lynette, Halsey, the missing lady. So it could not just be Lyney, it could be Lynette, or it could be the missing lady that created the thud. Granted, if Lyney was smart, he could say, hey, that thud was probably created by us shuffling about, going to the next boxes, to our next respective boxes. So, yes, she is using this as a way of saying, oh, you weren't inside that box because the thud happened. But the thud could just been circumstance of the magic trick going about. So this isn't a gotcha moment. This is more so a, hey, this happened. What does this mean? So this isn't as big of a, oh, I got you moment. But let's continue.
Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
We don't even know what that means.
The House of the Hearth?
Oh! I must have forgot about this. They're Fatui?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
Alright,
I've got
now
a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
let's continue.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Now, what she just did is actually a bigger deal. The thud is completely something you can ignore. What she just did now is something that is complete character assassination. She has now just attacked their character, bringing doubt upon basically everything that they have done and who they are. Now that she has tied the Fatui to them, it's like, oh shit, they're part of a group that everyone refers to as bad guys. Or connected, at the very least, connected to a group of bad guys. Complete character assassination now.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Okay, I guess she means by doing her research. Okay.
Hey, Lyney, why didn't you tell us this before?
Lyney and Lynette are Fatui. Or connected at very least.
Order! Mr. Lyney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
There's no doubt that the magician's ability to con others, given how Lyney has concealed his identity, this could have all been set up beforehand. Plus, Child is here in Fontaine along with the House of Operatives. There must be some scheme at work here. I've been a victim of such schemes before, and now I've been a victim.
Please answer my question, Mr. Lyney.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Granted.
My client has withheld some key information.
In that case, what is your request?
I request a brief adjournment. My bad. I request a brief adjournment. There are things that we have to discuss.
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Lyney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
While court is adjourned, you meet with Lyney and Lynette backstage in the Opera House. You guys got some explaining to do.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Alright, explain.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face.
Okay, explain.
I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
But how can we know that this isn't all just another lie?
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but...
So where did you actually go while the trick was being performed?
Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
Okay.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
And what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice.
Okay.
Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came.
Okay.
On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought.
Okay, so I was wrong. Alright. It wasn't a big setup. That would have been crazy, though. It was like a big setup. But, okay. So somehow, the trial still stands. We got a missing girl, and Cal's dead. Okay.
After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
But why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operates?
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Unfortunately, we're actually friends with a member of the Fatui.
Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
I believe the facts. I would defend you from these charges.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence we need.
Huh?
The German's almost over. Let's go back.
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Lyney's statement. Lyney claims that he headed to the chamber containing the oratory's core upon entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place, and thus he did not hear the thud. The voice in the oratory's core chamber. Lyney claims to have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the oratory's core, within the Opera House underground structure. We got all the info we need.
Why would it be him? God, that doesn't seem likely that anyone could have been there. I'm in hopes he's telling the truth.
Alright, we got one more thing we gotta fill. Alright.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Lyney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
Ugh, that took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention.
Okay.
At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Lyney's perspective.
What the fuck are we doing now? Farina versus the Traveler.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel.
Okay.
When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound.
Okay.
Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Lyney red-handed.
Okay.
So Lyney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Lyney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Lyney experienced and what he saw.
Huh. So he did enter the fucking tunnel. But
according to Lyney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
okay. Alright, no one in the... After the incident happened, only those...
Lyney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
Okay. Let's see.
Lyney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say!
Alright.
When the countdown started, Lyney did indeed go into the tunnel.
Okay.
But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent.
Did we pull it out? Oh, yeah. Okay, we evened the scales. We evened the scales.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Oh, wasn't it awesome?
Shut up, Paimon.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's correct.
That's right!
Moreover, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
The onstage equipment was clearly tampered with in premeditated fashion.
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Lyney only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around. Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
How you refuted Aunt Lyney's alibi initially.
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Exactly. He was, Your claim has also been Your claim has now become my weapon. I don't know what... During the magic show.
That's right! Lyney wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lyney had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lyney who committed the crimes, then who was it?
That's a good question. We don't know that answer yet. Oh, okay, we're gonna bullshit an answer. Okay, the murderer was... He could have tampered with it, but he's also dead. Alright, this is gonna be tough to deal with.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
This is totally...
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Okay. I completely just fumbled that. I don't care. The strange noise could likely have been the sound of Cal and Halsey struggling. Well, Lyney was not in the tunnel for 1 minute. There could have been a time to give him Cal. But according to the guard's testimony, there was no one in or left the Opera House. So even if he had taken her, there would have been no means of exiting. Exiting from the box would have given the full view of the audience, pretty much.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Where in the world did Halsey go?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track?
What do you mean?
Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Magic. Could have been the water?
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
Come on! We're thinking!
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold on a second.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
Yeah.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
True. The what? Okay.
The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Okay.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind.
That's true.
If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
Alright. Apparently you have never met a lady named Mona from Mondstadt. She literally has the power to transform into water. I do it... I can't say I do it on a regular basis, but I know that she has the power to transform into water. Our course that we examine Cal's personal effects.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Lyney already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about 2 completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of the rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
Alright, after some time, the guards return with news.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste.
Go ahead.
We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately.
Now, my problem here with this trial, and because it has been escalated in a very exponential sense. I mean, if they say a fucking rocket docket, well, this is a fucking rocket docket. we rocketed so fast that we didn't even examine the person's belongings before the trial itself. Great! Just absolutely great.
The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice.
Okay.
The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You gotta be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Okay.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Lyney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor.
Alright, continue.
If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Okay. Water from the primordial sea, whatever the hell that is. The liquid that the guards found in Cowell's luggage seemed to have the ability to dissolve Fontainians, people from Fontaine, into water. Interesting. Fuck me. Who is the prime suspect currently?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
Alright.
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan,
That was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge moment.
The water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death.
True. That's
His
what I was
notes
thinking.
mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence.
Okay.
I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Lyney's personal effects.
Oh god, Lyney! So either Lyney's being framed again, or Lyney's in on it. One of the two.
What?
That can't be. Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
Oh god, here we go again.
Lyney did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent.
Okay.
Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea.
Okay.
But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Lyney desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Lyney?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
I don't think so.
Oh no. I can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale.
We still got one dot left.
Then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move... excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lyney, if you would be so kind.
But what in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Wow, he's really feeling down.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lyney and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
Okay, what's gonna happen here?
And voila.
Okay. The lady is back.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence.
So how did she find
I was hiding
her?
outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt.
Okay.
I heard that Lyney's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lyney was the one who caught me in the act.
Oh.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Lyney even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
And they've practiced. The professional thief can make it work.
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's time to review the Hydro Archon's previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective.
Alright, my turn. Okay. So, he did jump down. That's obvious. Okay. Yeah, I'll go back to this.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened.
Okay.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowell.
Yeah.
Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
True.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time!
Here we go.
Having been selected out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lily-Ann had not dissolved.
Yep.
He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lily-Ann back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended.
There we go. Now let's see what happens next.
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
Oh.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now it's back on our side.
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
Huh?
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow! Look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lily-Ann. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lily-Ann, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Lyney, He was in the underground structures within the Opera House, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Lyney, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Lyney and Lilianne's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
Okay.
As such, Lyney and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Let's not celebrate just yet.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Lyney's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Lyney, but you, yes?
Well?
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Lyney, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
Shit. He turned into water.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
However, nothing is found on the scene apart from the liquid left behind from Vaughn's dissolvement.
So, we're just going back now?
Hell yeah. We're not needed anymore. We solved the crime.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Yeah?
Lyney...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
I just didn't wish to see anyone falsely accused.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Lyney this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
A knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
So what happened after that?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person, and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis's power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Lyney.
I understand.
Bye, Lyney.
That was really good. That had so many twists and turns that I was honestly at the edge of my seat. That was really good. From the magic show to the courtroom to the whole Ace Detective shit that, I mean, they were blatantly trying to parody, but they still made it work. They made it still feel unique. To how this whole magic show and this trial even progressed the story forward. And it really goes to show that even though Fiorina is still the Archon of this nation, it also shows that she is also a very flawed character as well. And in this case, a good sense. And it also shows that we got three factions going at it. We have the faction that is the people of Fontaine. We have, technically four, we have the Traveler, who is an outside party. We have the Fatui, who are split into, right now, kind of a sub-faction with the House of Hearth, the Knaves faction of the Fatui. We also have this fourth party that is trying to frame the Fatui in this case. So we got another case of a frame going on. Like I said, a fourth party trying to frame the Fatui to, I guess, fuck with their plans. Very interesting.